And she likes nice cars, late nights, tattoos, long flights, new shoes, old Nikes, new clothes, new sights. Good love, good drugs, good drinks, good times. She lives, she loves, she fucks, and she likes so loud when the place sold out. In the dark, lay it down. In the light, wear a crown. She gon' tear it up now. She gon' tear it up now. 2 a.m. she gon' bend, sing it when the lights out. Little baddie with a face like that, I'm a natty, gotta have it when she play like that. Call me daddy and I crave that cat. Little bratty with a natty, she don't play, she bad, oh. And I just want it all for me. Lock her down fast, go fall for me. Cause I'm giving you all you need. Anything you want, baby, call for me. Never felt like this before. She got a look you can't ignore, and got a taste most can't afford. Yeah, she'll leave you wanting more. And she likes nice cars, late nights, tattoos, long flights, new shoes, old Nikes, new clothes, new sights. Good love, good drugs, good drinks, good times. She lives, she loves, she fucks, and she likes when the bass so loud, when the place sold out. In the dark, lay it down. In the light, wear a crown. She gon' tear it up now. She gon' tear it up now. 2 a.m. she gon' bend, sing it when the lights out. With a face like that, I'm a natty, gotta have it when she play like that. Call me daddy and I crave like that. Little bratty with a natty, she don't play, she's bad, oh. And I just want it all for me. Lock her down fast, go fall for me. Cause I'm giving you all you need. Anything you want, baby, call for me.
Are you interested in warming things up in the bedroom? Kinky candles are blended wax play candles. Our candles are carefully designed and fragranced with an aphrodisiac to ensure your pleasure is taken to new temperatures. To get started with a drip, drop, splat, or pour, give us a call. 079-461-6001. That's Kinky Candles on 079-461-6001.
She's got a little crazy in her. Sharp eyes with the mind of a sinner. All those dark thoughts, yeah, still a beginner. But you can tell that she's got a little demon in her. Cause she can make a man obsessed. She can make a man confess. She can make a man cut checks. Cause she looks better when she's undressed. Just a couple secret sinners. Yeah, she's just what he eats for dinner. She's easy to love, oh, and easy to hate. She tastes like a drug and she feels just the same. Bitter to the tongue, but a thrill for your brain. A little bit crazy, but it's worth all the pain. She's a dark little artist with ink in her veins. She's been through the hardest but prospered from pain. She appears to be heartless, surrounded by flames. But through all the darkness, a lover is changed. She's nerdy and sweet, but she's dirty underneath. If those flirty eyes could speak, lustful thoughts would release. Cause she hates that she loves so hard, like a disease. It's left her with all these scars no one can see but me. It's a beautiful thing. You'd never quite know what she thinks. But if you're lucky, she just might let you see what hides behind night nightmares and dreams. She's easy to love, oh, and easy to hate. She tastes like a drug and she feels just the same. Bitter to the tongue, but a thrill for your brain. A little bit crazy, but it's worth all the pain. She's a dark little artist with ink in her veins. She's been through the hardest, but prospered from pain. She appears to be heartless, surrounded by flames, but through all the darkness, her lover is Jane. Her mind is a beautiful thing. You never quite know what she thinks, but if you're lucky, she just might let you see what hides behind nightmares and dreams.
Good day, I'm Jean-Marie van Graan, also known as Lola Blakely, and I'm thrilled to introduce to you Lotus Love, your ultimate destination in relationship, intimacy and wellness coaching. As a wellness, relationship and intimacy associated counselor, I'm passionate about helping individuals and couples navigate the complexities of modern relationships. Through personalized coaching sessions, I empower my clients to embrace love, intimacy, and connections in all its forms. Whether you're exploring ethical non-monogamy, navigating post-divorce life, or preparing for the dating scene, I'm here to support you. My coaching approach is holistic, compassionate, and tailored to your unique needs and goals. Together, we'll uncover your strengths, address the challenges, and create a path towards a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation? Book a consultation with me today and let Lotus Love be your guide to fulfillment in relationship and life. Your path to a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life and relationship can start with me here today.
We can fight our desires. But when we start making fires, we get ever so hot. Whether we like it or not. They say we can love who we choose. But what is love without lust? Two hearts with accurate devotions. What are feelings without emotions?
How old were you when you realized you were kinky? My name is Jerry Pelser, and in my latest book I explore the topics of friendship, young love, family secrets, and kink positivity in a new series of 4 books called The Felicity Street Annals, a children's story for adults. The first book in the series launches on the 30th of May and is available in both paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com, along with my other, distinctly more adult, BDSM-flavored novels.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent or that of the program, its presenters, hosts, directors, or other team members.
This show is intended for audiences aged 23 and older. This production and its digital copies contain content of an adult nature. If you are easily offended or are under the age of 18, this show is not intended for you. The posts, pages, and recordings within are intended for adults only and may include descriptions of scenes of sexual content, suggestive opinions, detailed discussions, and graphic topics. Listener discretion is advised.
Come cuff up and get comfortable while we unclothe the magic of fantasy and desire. Tie in with us and learn how to earn your key to getting kinky. You're welcome. Spank us later, because tonight's class is about to begin.
Good evening, Lustfuls. Welcome to the 6th episode in Season 2 of Kinky Classes, your favourite nighttime talk focused on teaching everyday couples how to incorporate kink to their intimate relationships. Tonight's class is called Getting from Fantasy to Flogging Flawlessly. Incorporating kink to your intimate relationship can seem very scary for both you and your partner. However, applied correctly, sensual impact can cause an amazing euphoric experience. Domme Claire joins Lola and Medusa this evening to discuss how everyday couples can practice impact plays safely and sanely, hopefully soberly so. And let me, as usual, go ahead and start this evening's episode off by mentioning the association endorsement sites if I don't knock my phone off of the table while I'm at it. Z-Nights. The Z-Nights website has combined socials, events, parties, and workshops for all walks of life and like-minded individuals. Z-Nights is a quality South African community of fun, unique, uninhibited people who enjoy life to the fullest, who are into casual dating, social networking, and open relationships, and alternative lifestyles. With an extensive amount of social platforms for us adults to connect on, Z-Nights makes finding these quality connections easy, affordable, and accessible. If you'd like to join the Z-Nights community, head on over to www.znights.com and explore countless possibilities. Then, of course, our endorsement site, Lola's favorite friends at the Council of Fantasy. The COF is a lifestyle-orientated community, catering for everything from BDSM all the way to lifestyle, and everybody that's somewhere in between. We host events in all spectrums in a safe, sane, and consensual way. We are an all-inclusive community, and the only shame we shame are those shamers themselves. Shame on you. One of the main focuses of the COF is in education, and not just in BDSM, but sex positivity, lifestyle positivity, body positivity. I mean, we've even got a women empowerment group. You guys can come on over and find us at www.counciloffantasy.co.za. Alternatively, head on over to my website. That's www.lelustfm.live. Yes, La Lovelies with a double L. We know we lustful up in this business. Find the link to the WhatsApp community right at the bottom of the home screen. There's like a little WhatsApp icon. Click on the icon and come and join the WhatsApp community. Then, your Lola Blakely production moderators for this evening are my man Axel and one of the newest members to our production moderating team, Mr. Fox himself. Our technical director this evening is Mr. MVG, standing in for Medusa as the whipcracker production manager this evening, as Medusa's going to obviously co-host with me. Feel free to engage with them or send them questions that you'd like answered. They're here to keep us safe during the airing. Please note that the guests and hosts will answer questions before the break and just before the end of the show again. Now, it's one of my favorite times of the evening. I get to welcome my co-host, the whipcracker herself, my other wifey, Medusa. Hello, my gorgeous red-headed beauty. How are you doing, lovely?
Good evening, Miss Lola. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'd also be smug if I missed ladies' night last night, madam.
Oh, I'm so sad about that. Really, it broke my heart. But it was that or my wheel falling off. So
So
choices.
Medusa was supposed to be VIP last night with our ladies' night. For everybody that missed the episode, we did an episode on masturbation last night. Myself and my other wifey Carmen, from Play With Me live from the ladies' night with Lola. Event was immensely successful. We had a hell of a time, but Medusa sadly had car problems, so she couldn't join us. So my evening was nearly fulfilled. I was just missing that one red-headed spark in my night.
So we'll have to have another ladies' night then.
Oh, that sounds divine. Next time I just won't drink that much. Goodness, I had a hangover today, let me tell you. Have you had a good week, Medusa?
I had a fabulous week, thank you. How was
Right.
your weekend?
It's been stressful. It's been stressful. It's been tiring. It's been appearances and events, and it's just been too much. But we survived. I survived another week in 2024. So it's about that time also in the episode now that we get to introduce our guest this evening. Medusa, you've had a couple of words now with our guest this evening. Isn't she beautiful as well?
She is, and I'm so excited.
So am I.
I could not get enough of her Instagram account.
Even me. Listen,
I
it's
was
addictive, right?
scrolling,
Yes.
sharing pictures. Yeah, no, definitely.
I love
Yeah.
it. I absolutely love it. So I first came around an ad on Z-Nights, actually. That's how I came to know about Domme Claire. Because myself and Bev are like tighties, right? So I was updating my Z-Nights profile and I was like, who's this Domme Claire? Ooh, I like that red. Ooh, I like that black. Because she's got this like outfit on, right? It looks like a leather outfit. I was like, ooh, this bitch is hot. We gotta get some of that. I want to know what she's all about. And then of course I found the Instagram and I was just gobsmacked. So without further ado, okay, let's get to the guest this evening. Domme Claire has been a professional dominatrix for 5 years, and we must stop saying she. I need to get used to this, so please excuse me. They are also a kink educator for all genders and sexual orientations. There's room for all at their feet. They are neurodivergent with ADHD and ASD and passionate about mental health in BDSM and BDSM for mental health. They are non-binary queendom. This means they do not identify with any particular gender, regardless of how masculine or feminine they might present. They are attracted to a person's soul. I love that. And energy. Wow. Man, goosebumps. Not just their gender. But none of this makes them who they are. Their curiosity, sense of humor, their intuition, work ethic, and their passion makes them great at who they are. They bring all of this to being a Dom. Domme Claire, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's absolutely fabulous. I'm starstruck. This is exciting. Yay. And of course, you've just come back from Germany. So, I mean, are you still jet lagged?
No, there's actually there's actually no jet lag because they're on the same time zone as us.
Oh, brilliant. I wouldn't know. I've never traveled abroad.
It's absolutely perfect. It just works really nicely because you just have this long flight and then you're still in the same time zone. You don't have to worry about jet lag. It's
Love it.
convenient.
Well, thank you for joining us and welcome. We're very excited to have you here this evening. Let's start by telling us. Let's start the evening off by you telling us how exactly you came to be where you are. I mean, you've got quite an extensive following already, and Where did all of this come from?
I was actually a dancer. I was an exotic dancer at Mavericks here in Cape Town. And that's where I got my kind of first real life exposure to kink, was in the dances. People started asking me questions or like making requests for specific things like choking or spanking or whatever. And I got really into it. And then I was the one asking people like, what are you into? What can we play with? What can we do? And that's where I learned that pro doming can be an actual job. So I started doing some research into it, and I saw that there wasn't much happening in Cape Town except for one other dom. And I was like, well, there's surely like a demand for it. I'll be the supply.
Mm.
Because I have an economics background, so that's why that joke is.
I love it, supply and demand.
I like it.
That is absolutely brilliant.
Beauty and brains.
So we've got two different spectrums of the table this evening, right? Because we've got a dom and we've got a sub. So Medusa, you were telling us a little bit about your background just before we went on air, right? When you were introducing yourself to Domme Claire, but we haven't discussed that with our listeners. Our listeners don't know why you actually able to speak as a co-host on Kinky Classes. So let's hear about that. Sorry, Chris, this is a closed panel discussion this evening, so we're not taking callers just yet, but hang around. We might take a couple of callers a little bit later on. Sorry, Medusa, back to you.
Yes, so my background, I joined my BDSM journey as a slave, and I was trained as a slave. Thereafter, I was very fortunate to serve under a German master as his submissive, and along the way, I found a passion for educating new submissives, educating them as what to look out for, what to expect. I have a big passion for education, and even though I'm a submissive slash slave, I can top, and I do top from time to time. I only top women. And yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, so I'm gonna have to watch myself. Switchy later on the side. I'll just watch myself on air this evening.
You thought those threats were just love letters.
Listen, you and your stinging nettles can fuck right off. Okay, let me tell you. So Domme Claire, this evening's episode, and I sent you a list of episodes that you could actually pick from, right? When I approached you for the interview, because I didn't care which one we got you for. I just wanted to have you on air. So why this episode in particular? Have you got a passion for impact play?
Oh, I love impact play. I've done a workshop on impact play. I've done a specific impact play evening at my dungeon. I love impact play. And in my dungeon, I've got like 2 shelves of impact play implements. So you can clearly see by looking at my toys what I like.
What's your favorite impact toy?
Oh, people always ask me that, and I always say it's so unfair to pick a favorite. It's so unfair to all the other ones.
I want to second that.
It's not fair to all the other ones. But if you want to break it into categories, I can. So if you, for example, want to go with something that's newbie friendly, I will go for my leather paddle. If it's something that I want to bruise someone with, I'll go for my wooden paddle with holes in it, or my one acrylic paddle. If it's someone that can take a beating, I'll go for my cane.
Oh,
Yes.
that's sexy. Medusa, you'll have to say something now because I'm just like gathering my thoughts. Oh, we've lost you, Medusa.
Oh no.
Yeah, we've lost volume
I'm
there.
here.
There we go. You're back. Back, yes.
Okay, so my favorite impact implement is called a bushkash, and it comes from Afghanistan, and it's used in their national sport. So it's a little like a little braided leather whip, about 40 centimeters with a little heart in the middle. And these riders ride with it, clutching it in their teeth. And in the sport, they hit each other with this. So it's made to do impact. And it's to the aim, it's like polo, it's on horses. No animals get hurt at all. It's completely right. But that leaves such a beautiful, deep sting. Wow, that thing is right up there as my favorite.
So let's get down to business, right? Do you have a lot of newbies that come and see you for like in your line of work? Newbies that want to maybe explore and experience impact plays in specific, and they don't know maybe how to incorporate it in their relationships. Would they then come and see you, and then you give them like a taste of what it would look like?
I do get a lot of newbies, yes. I adore the newbies. I like what's like one of my favorite things about the newbies is watching them fall in love with BDSM the way I have.
Mm,
Sharing this beautiful thing with them. That's like
mm.
what I love. And I do get a lot of newbies that I do impact play with, especially because I want to show them that it's not an absolutely terrifying concept.
Can I just have a round of applause? Wait, hold on. I've got an applause here. There we go. We got an have it. Hold on. Pressing the wrong buttons here. There we go. It's the nails. I love that you said that, because that's the thing that I always try and get across and through to people. BDSM isn't dark, dangerous, and dungeons and dragons, right? It can be absolutely super sexy and super sensual, and it can really add so much to your intimate relationship. Medusa, you've got your hand up there.
Yes, and adding to what you said is impact play can be very therapeutic. You know, it's quite a journey to experience impact play. Everybody just thinks it's about getting hit with a paddle or, a cane, but it's an emotional journey, and it can be quite freeing as well. And you can get a big emotional release. And it's also quite a workout. This is something I don't think newbies realize, but after impact session, you can expect all your muscles to be quite stiff the next day. And it's one of the things I like the most, is because you don't realize it, but you do put tension on your other muscles. And it's a wonderful side effect if you love pain like I do.
So here's going to be the Lola comment. You guys know I need to go to this every single time, right? So you contract when you orgasm. Now you're going to contract when you orgasm. You're going to contract when you get impact play. Are you going to be double stiff the next day? That's all I want to know. Let's hear from Domme Claire. How would we go about teaching these new vanilla? Because look, this whole production, the first season we touched on kink quite dramatically, and we went into a lot of details. But what we decided is to reinvent the show when we renewed it for a second season, and we decided to focus on educating normal everyday couples on how to incorporate kink to their relationship. Because the BDSM guys know, the guys that are kink friendly know kink. We can't teach them anything. We don't want to teach them anything. We want to teach your normal guys, your neighbors next door, Tani Sunny van across the road. We want to teach these people how they can enhance their intimate relationships and experience a new level of euphoria and ecstasy in their normal everyday relationships by adding something as simple as impact play or as kink to their relationship. So how do we go about incorporating or starting the journey?
Starting the journey, I would say your first step is just communication. I think an open dialogue with your partner is very important. So everything in BDSM, starts with communication, talking about stuff, vetting, and all that. It starts with communication. And I would suggest here that you start the conversation in a non-pressuring or casual setting. and that you use I statements to express your desires, such as, I've been curious about spanking and I would love to explore it with you.
Ooh, like that.
Yeah, it just starts as a curious conversation, and this is something I've been wondering about. Let's try it out. It's a non-threatening way to start the conversation. And then part of your communication should then also be discussing your boundaries, what is okay and what isn't okay. And this can help just both people understand each other's boundaries and limits, and comfort zones. And then the third thing about the communication that I would suggest is setting a goal or expectation. So, what is it that you hope to get out of this? Do you want to go into subspace? Do you just want to try it out? Do you want to have some sexual excitement? Do you just want a disciplinary session? Like, what is it that you want to get out of this? Because that sets the tone for the scene. That's how I would suggest we
I
start.
love that. So let's start with conversations, right? Let's start with communication because this is something, and Medusa would know because she listens to every single episode in all 3 shows. Communication, communication, communication. I love that it came up again because you cannot say the word enough. Okay, so let's start with conversations. And something our previous co-host, my lovely Red, used to advocate so strongly for is she used to say there's not 2 S's in safe, sane, and consensual. It should be 3 S's. So it's safe, sane, sober, and consensual. That's what we want people to remember. Because practicing kink, we don't kink and drink, right? So let's start with conversations. And I want to start with this for a specific reason. Because I've had a lot of couples that come to see me and they've got an issue with, they had a conversation when we were drunk about doing this. I can't remember what he said. I can't remember agreeing to that. Here's the thing. We're not going to have a conversation about incorporating kink in our relationship, about you beating me while we've been drinking. La la. Let me tell you, we're drawing the line right there, nah? Because that's the thing. You're not gonna be giving proper consent over, even in your negotiation. So having those discussions, let's talk about that. How important is it to have sober conversations and sober play sessions? Because we need to set up our play agreement, right? What is this night going to look like for us discovering kink for the first time?
Yeah, that's absolutely important. I agree with you.
Mm,
I'm also quite strict for that reason about drinking at my events,
mm,
because we have to be sober when we kink.
mm. Medusa, what's your opinions on this?
Yes, and there's so many facets that you have to think about when alcohol is involved. Firstly, it brings blood to the skin, so you will experience impact play. Your pain tolerance will be lower.
Mm,
That's opposite to what people think. Also, your reaction time is not as quick, so you might not realize you are hurting beyond your limit in time.
mm,
Also, if the top is under the influence, it can lead to serious injuries. Spanking on the butt can be dangerous if you hit too high. We've got
mm,
organs, you've got the spine. There's really, really serious reasons why we advocate not to
mm,
drink and kink.
mm,
More than just and there's nothing worse I can think of that can happen to a couple thinking they're going to do this kink exploration and then the next morning waking up and realizing you've actually hurt your partner. That
mm,
because and dom drop is a real thing. So especially
mm,
during impact plays. So you're already going to be struggling with new feelings of the dom drop, which I think we should get into as well.
Yes.
But now you're going to sit with serious consequences of
mm,
alcohol impacting your decision making.
mm. Yeah. And I don't just want to talk about the fact that we're playing while we're under the influence. I want to
Mm.
talk about actually having these discussions, negotiating the play setup. This is even before we get to impact, before you even have an implement in your hand. You are discussing this with your partner. How are you even going to remember your partner's safe word? How are we going to remember what the limitations are? How are we going to remember what we discussed? our session's going to look like, what we're going to be using, what we're going to be exploring with. These things are important, and people don't realize that. People don't think beyond getting my dick wet. That's going to be the fun part of the evening, right? No, babies, let's think about these things seriously, because you can cause serious harm to your partner, which I'm sure is not the intention. If it is, then you shouldn't be practicing kink, right?
Yes.
Mm. What's next on your list there?
On my list, well, since we are talking about kind of being on the safe side of things, why don't we have a chat about safety precautions?
Let's do. That's perfect. That's a perfect next topic.
Okay, so basic anatomy areas that are okay for spanking. Let's start with that.
Yes.
Butt is always the first one. Your buttocks is always the first one for spanking. Your inner and outer thighs, I also really like. Your inner thighs are softer and they bruise nicely. So then when you're walking the next day, or when you're sitting and changing position, you'll feel your bruises and be remember what's happened.
Yes, that reminiscent. Yes, those. Oh, I like those. Yes.
It's one of my favorites for that very reason. And usually with my Germany submissives, I go really hard at their inner thighs and their butt, because they have flights back home, so that they properly remember me. So that's what I do.
Love, 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 love. That causes another. It's cause for another applause, but my nails are in the way.
Other areas that are okay, but maybe less well known: your forearms, your biceps, your chest, and the bottom of your feet are also okay.
Okay.
And obviously, we avoid areas with organs like kidneys. So your lower back you avoid, your spine and your joints you avoid. Other than that,
So I've got a question, right? This episode is called Flogging. It's got the word flogging in, but it's the whole episode is surrounding impact play. So please, listeners, don't get confused. This is about impact play in general. So say I've got a favorite saying. Lola's always aiming for a caning. I love a caning, right? That's just me. But other people, especially the newbies, it might be very, very like hurtful for them, because it's quite it's quite a painful thing to go through. So what are we suggesting these guys start with is my first question. My second question is, are your erogenous zones going to be the same for somebody taking a flogging as opposed to somebody with a riding crop, as opposed to somebody with a stinging nettle, as opposed to somebody with a cane? Are all of these zones going to stay the same throughout your body?
I don't think so, no. You asked first, like, what areas to start with for newbies. I would suggest starting with the bum and thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your safe, bigger areas, so it's easier to
More
aim at
meaty.
them. Yeah, and it's easy to aim.
Mm.
Depending on what you're using as well, your erogenous zones will change. Like your flogging, you can do more on more areas of the body because it tends to be a softer thing.
Yes, yes.
And the sensation of the flogger is also a bit more sensual. Whereas something like a paddle that's more thuddy, that'll also change depending on where you use it. And a cane or a crop, for example, are more stingy.
So we're not going to use a cane and a paddle on the lower back,
No, absolutely not.
because we don't want to rupture kidneys and shit. That's okay. That's a red zone. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I would also suggest for newbies that are just going for their first impact session with each other, trying to see if that's really their thing, to maybe use like a wooden spoon. Everybody has it in the kitchen. Before you
Love
go
that.
out and buy all these toys, first see if it's something you like. BDSM, there's so many kinks. Get a flogger, maybe feel a flogger, feel a wooden spoon. See if you like. It's very important to see if you like a thuddy feeling, like a paddle, or if you like a stinging feeling. Personally, I hate a paddle, but I absolutely love a riding crop, right? And I love a whip, you know. So each person has their own preferences, and you need to explore that, but slowly. What I do if I have a new bottom that I play with, I would pack out all my impact implements and we would go through it. I would explain what they all are. And I would ask them, which ones do you want to feel? And then we would do a very light test on each of them on the butt. And then they can tell me, okay, do they want a medium, to work up to medium on these impacts and then go hard, just to test it. Do not go full out on the first. We have the saying, don't send somebody to the moon on the first strike,
Or the ER for that
Um,
matter.
yeah, yeah, but it needs to be enjoyable, and you also need to learn what your partner's pain threshold is.
How difficult is that for you, Domme Claire? Especially being in your profession. I mean, you get different calibers of people, I'm sure, coming through, right? How difficult is it for somebody like you to see a new client? Say your day's filled with new clients. You've now got 5 in repetition, straight after one another. Going from this kind of impact and this kind of level of pain threshold to the next, is that something you can quickly adapt to? Because I'm thinking that could be quite daunting.
I've gotten used to it. So it used to be very intimidating for me. But now I've gotten pretty good at starting to read people. So each person is different, and even a newbie person can have an insane pain threshold. So I just start softer. I will gradually increase my intensity, and I do regular check-ins with them. I'll ask them, is your bum feeling green or orange? Because I use the traffic light system for
Yeah, that's
safety.
great.
So I check in with them and I ask them as well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sore is it for you? And then I ask them, do you want me to push it from a 3 to a 5, for example, or do you want to keep it at a 3? Or that's how I do it. And then based on that information, I adjust the session.
Adjust. Sure. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued. I got it. One day in my life when I got experience like a pro dom session. I'm just gonna have to. What's next on your list that you want to be teaching us this evening?
Well, we were talking about household items that you can use for spanking, and I've got a little list here of things that if people don't want to invest yet.
I love
I
that.
love that.
Yes. Yay. And I've always had this like fantasy, right? And we spoke about it last week, didn't we, Medusa? Like to grab me in the kitchen, maybe bend me over and use that wooden spoon. Go for it. This is exciting. Let's hear what you've got there.
Well, the wooden spoon is our first one. The wooden spoon is great, but beware, the wooden spoon can bite hard and can bruise. So if you don't want bruises, don't use the wooden spoon. Rather use your spatula.
Spatula. That's a cool one. I love, and also that's going to leave nice marks too, hey?
Yeah, it
If
might
you're
leave
into
some
marking.
lines.
Yes, I love
I
it.
like that idea. I think in my next play, I'm swapping out the wooden spoon for spatula.
Look at that. Teaching and teaching alike. I love it. Okay, good.
We can also use a hairbrush. A hairbrush can work nicely for some sensation play if you like trace it over the skin, and it works great for impact play as well.
Great.
Yeah. Obviously a belt. A belt works very nicely, but a belt can also bite quite hard. You can use a ruler. You can use maybe a ping pong paddle if you have one of those. You can use a slipper or a plucky.
Oh, yes, a flip flop. Yes, I love it. This is great.
And then also like a rolled up newspaper or magazine for something that's a bit softer.
Love that. I want to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know these people that have blinds in your house, but those blinds that you like turn closed and they've got those. Yes, baby, if you want a good cane, just grab one of those. Those things work wonders. That's great. Listen, lustful listeners. We need to be heading into a short commercial break, but we will be back in the next couple of minutes. They'll give us about 10, just so that we can refill our water glasses, because, baby, we don't kink and drink, we know this. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, and then we can explore a little bit more about How do we incorporate impact play so that it doesn't feel like abuse? This is what we want to be teaching you guys this evening. It's going to be a great episode. We are joined by Domme Claire this evening. Domme Claire's been a professional dominatrix for 5 years, and they are also a kink educator for all genders and sexual orientations. So there's room at their feet for everyone. Enter a realm where power and elegance intertwine. Meet Domme Claire, a masterful dominatrix dedicated to creating unforgettable experiences tailored to your deepest fantasies. With years of experience and deep understanding of BDSM dynamics, Domme Claire offers a unique and personalized experience that caters to your deepest desires and fantasies. Every session is a journey. It's about trust, exploration, and pushing boundaries in a safe and consensual environment. From essential domination to intense discipline, Domme Claire's sessions are crafted to ensure memorable and transformative experiences. Explore a wide range of services, including spanking, bondage, role play, and more. Whether you're a novice or experienced player, Domme Claire's expertise and attention to detail will guide you through an unforgettable experience. Your fantasies are unique, and Domme Claire is here to bring them to life with respect, creativity, and a touch of elegance. Visit dommeclaire.com to learn about their offerings, read testimonials, and schedule your personalized session today. Indulge in the experience of dominance and submission. Discover Domme Claire, where your deepest desires meet reality.
She's got a little crazy in her, sharp eyes with the mind of a sinner. All those dark thoughts, yeah, still a beginner, but you can tell that she's got a little demon in her. Cause she can make a man obsessed, she can make a man confess, she can make a man cut checks. Cause she looks better when she's undressed. Just a couple secret sinners. Yeah, she's just what he eats for dinner. She's easy to love, oh, and easy to hate. She tastes like a drug and she feels just the same. Bitter to the tongue, but a thrill for your brain. A little bit crazy, but it's worth all the pain. She's a dark little artist with ink in her veins. She's been through the hardest, but prospered from pain. She appears to be heartless, surrounded by flames, but through all the darkness, a lover is changed. She's nerdy and sweet, but she's dirty underneath. If those flirty eyes could speak, lustful thoughts would release. Cause she hates that she loves so hard, like a disease. It's left her with all these scars no one can see but me. It's a beautiful thing. You never quite know what she thinks, but if you're lucky, she just might let you see what hides behind nightmares and dreams. She's easy to love, oh, and easy to hate. She tastes like a drug and she feels just the same. Bitter to the tongue, but a thrill for your brain. A little bit crazy, but it's worth all the pain. She's a dark little artist with ink in her veins. She's been through the hardest, but prospered from pain. She appears to be heartless, surrounded by flames, but through all the darkness, a lover is Jane. Her mind is a beautiful thing. You never quite know what she thinks, but if you're lucky, she just might let you see what hides behind nightmares and dreams.
How old were you when you realized you were kinky? My name is Jerry Pelser, and in my latest book I explore the topics of friendship, young love, family secrets, and kink positivity in a new series of 4 books called The Felicity Street Annals, a children's story for adults. The first book in the series launches on the 30th of May and is available in both paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com, along with my other, distinctly more adult, BDSM-flavored novels.
Welcome back, Lustfuls. This evening we are doing getting from fantasy to flogging flawlessly, because we want to teach all of our lustful listeners how to become flawless at incorporating kink into their intimate relationships. Joining us on air this evening is the fantastic, fabulous, and absolutely gorgeous goddess of a Dom from Cape Town, South Africa, Domme Claire. And Lola's been hounding her for quite some time. Listen, I've really, really wanted this guest. I'm so stoked to have her this evening. Welcome back. Also, welcome back, Medusa. So nice to
Thank
see your
you.
face again. You know, I love seeing your face on air with me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I'm so honored that we have Domme Claire with us tonight.
It's amazing, and the first half has gone absolutely amazing. I've had the most amazing feedback already. Everybody's just saying, "Oh, she speaks so well. We love this. This is exciting, educational, information that you guys are sharing." So thank you very much. Okay, where did you learn all of your? Where did you get to learn all of your knowledge? How did you come to? Is it practice makes perfect, or was it just something that you were naturally kind of gravitated towards?
I think it's a healthy mix of both.
Mm.
I've always been naturally dominant, so that's never been an issue for me. When it came to the actual pro doming stuff, in the beginning, everything was terrifying for me as a dom because I was a baby dom. So I took the time and effort to actually learn from my experienced submissives and ask them what they like and show me how they want
I
it.
love that.
So I took that as a learning opportunity, and then it was practice makes perfect.
I love that. Medusa, I see you smiling there because you obviously resonated with something there.
I agree. As much as technical knowledge is important, like nothing comes to practice makes perfect. You can read how to cane somebody till you blue in the face, but that will not teach you how to
Be a decent
hit
dom.
somebody. And that brings me to something I want to ask Domme Claire to help us with, maybe. Tips for new people new to kink on how to practice accuracy and how to practice those swings. You know, that's very important to be consistent and maybe to give some advice.
You can start initially by practicing maybe on a pillow, and it's very simple.
Love it.
Practice, aim on the pillow, see if if you're hitting where you want to hit, and after that, then maybe move it on to your partner. And I would suggest people always, and this is, I don't know if this is a newbie mistake, but people always think that they require a big arm motion, which you don't. You can literally just do a flick of the wrist.
It's all in the wrist, yeah.
All in the wrist. Your
Love
aim
it.
is so much better, and you're still very effective at just you flicking the wrist.
I
Yes,
love,
and
love, love that.
adding to your pillow example, what I also can suggest is maybe putting 2 pieces of masking tape on the pillow and try hitting between those two so
Yeah,
that you zoom in your accuracy.
yeah, that's
Unless you want multiple marks over multiple areas of your buttocks, then I mean, like, go to town. But that's going to be all about your negotiation that you're going to have with your partner, right?
yeah.
Do you find to all of our, and also let's just quickly take a moment just to say thank you to all of our listeners for joining in, all 2,600 of you guys. I mean, you guys always come out in the masses to support the show. Real, loyal, lustful listeners. We love the lot of you. We love your need and your hunger for education when it comes to sex positivity, and just on absorbing all of that energy and that education really means a lot to us, because that's what we do the show for, right? That's why it's so important to us and our guests and all of the co-hosts. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. There's a bunch of chatter going on the Podbean app itself. Our technical director says I'm good at hitting a fly mid-air. That's not going to count. See? That's not going to count. Let's talk about possible possible scenarios where maybe our partners are going to feel a certain kind of way when we discuss maybe being interested in kink.
Mm.
So say for instance, me and my partner, we completely vanilla, never tried anything but missionary. Okay, doggy styles are kind of a push for us. Okay, so now I'm going to my partner and I'm going, listen, honey, listen, I want to kind of have a beating on my buttocks. What are we going to do about it? That's the first thing that I want us to bring up. Secondly, are we going to beat our partner for doing something wrong in the beginning, or are we only going to keep it to? There's a word we use in the COF. What is it? A furnishment instead of a punishment. So those are my furnishments instead of a punishment. So
A
let's talk
punishment.
about a punishment. There we go. A punishment. That's it. Not a furnishment. Let's talk about those two things quickly.
Do you want to start?
So I'll go first if you. So regarding feelings, I think it's really important that you, especially if you're approaching your partner, tell them why you want this impact. Express that you want it, right? And reassure them before, during, and after the play that this is what you wanted. Because they are going to act in a way that is against the normal society's rules.
And how they were
They
possibly
might be,
brought up.
yes, exactly. They're going through something that was maybe ingrained in them throughout their life. We're told, do not hit somebody. And now your partner, who you love and care for, is asking you to spank them. That is really, really important.
I also want to add to that of the feelings. Well, we've mentioned a bit of dom drop before. Like, what if the dominant partner then tries it and then they like it, but then they feel weird about liking it?
Thank you for bringing that up. You see, this is so important. That is so important. You're not a freak.
Yeah,
Love that.
you're absolutely not a freak. There's all kinds of reasons to love it, and there's all kinds of, for both the dom and the sub. For the sub, the reason that we love it is for that endorphin rush, that subspace
Yes.
feeling that we go into. And for the dom, it's very much, for me, is about what I see my partner gets out of this. That feeling, that's amazing feeling of, look at what I can do for them. Also going into dom space, which is an incredible feeling in and of itself as well. And just that power exchange, that's so intoxicating. So there's so many reasons that we love it, and it's not weird for liking it.
For me, when it comes from a dom's perspective, but like I mentioned, like our sweet shots, from a dom's perspective, what I love about it's the fact that your partner is putting that amount of trust.
Yes.
That for me is the beauty of it. This is your partner, and I want to explain this to the listeners very, very vividly. Your partner trusts you so much that they're coming to you and asking you, requesting this beautiful thing to explore together. That is the ultimate form of trust, right? I love you so much that I want you to beat my bum, and I'm okay with it. Like, this is not abuse. But we got to also be mindful and remember it's got to be consensual. If it's not consensual, then it's abuse. Medusa?
And I think, especially in this country where we had corporal punishment on schools,
Yes.
your partner might have a different association with impact. And due to their history and their previous experiences, might not be as open to it. Impact play can also be healing. I personally hated the belt for a very specific reason. And it was through a BDSM dynamic that was built on trust and open communication that I was able to play with the belt again. And it has since remained one of my favorite impact toys.
I love that.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, the next thing. When our vanilla listeners, right, come like want to start trying out incorporating kink and impact, are we gonna necessarily come home and be like, oh, I was a naughty girl today, I deserve a punishment, as opposed to I don't like the way you just spoke to me, I think you deserve a punishment. Where does this actually become sexy and sensual and something that's going to be arousing, as opposed to I feel offended and fuck you back? I'm not bending. Let's talk about these power dynamic shifts and what that does to a person.
Do you mean like when it's impulsive or spontaneous versus like
Yes.
pre-planned?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Ooh, I think that can come with practice
Yes, I think so too,
and
y'all.
being more comfortable with the idea of it. At first, I would suggest having a designated time, play session, and
I
then
love that.
as you get more comfortable with your partner's boundaries and you get more comfortable with the idea of spanking, then it can become a more playful, spontaneous thing.
I think I think that's so important. Sorry, Medusa, I think that's so important because you got to learn those. You got to learn what it does to your partner before you just take over and be like, oh, well, Ben, bitch, kind of vibes.
Yes.
Medusa, what did you want to add there?
Again, it comes down to what was negotiated. Like, I don't like the way you talk to me. You're getting a punishment right now. Can be a big turn on for somebody. For other people, you can be like, no way, that's not for me. It all depends on your partner. Some people don't like, we're going to do, at this moment, we're going to do 10 spanks or whatever. They like the more impulsive. Like, for example, your primal players like that not knowing part that, but you need to build up. You need to build up because you need to know that you're not going to trigger your partner.
Yes.
Your partner always needs to feel safe. And that's from the bottom side and the top side. The top must feel safe enough to be able to do impact on you.
Love that. Love. I learned something. Thank you. Domme Claire, what else do you have on your list? I love guests that come prepared.
It's the autism. It's the
I,
autism.
I love that. I love that because it easy. Sometimes I find myself in an interview and I'm like, shit, what I want to ask next. I don't need to think of questions. You've got everything planned out. I love that. It makes it so easy. What's next on your list?
Well, how do we start the spanking? So I would suggest that we start with a warm-up spanking. So you start with light, gentle spanks, and you can warm up the skin and muscles with that. It increases the blood flow as well. And it kind of prepares the body for what's about to come. And then you can vary the intensity when you play. So you start slow, baby steps, and then vary the intensity and gradually build it up.
You're not going to fall in there and give it like a number 10 right from the intro because more than likely the bottom's going to turn around and say, excuse me, can we not? It's done now. Okay.
That's the thing. And your partner's going to want to tap out. If you go too hard, too fast, they're going to want to tap out. And you don't want your partner to say red to you 5 minutes in. You rather want to extend the play and be more sensual with it.
Yes.
And that's really important. Like, for newbies attending a BDSM party, they might come across something like a cold caning, where there is no warm-up. But that is done by experienced players. I would highly recommend not to start off that way. If you become more experienced and you prefer it, that's something different. But just because you see something at an event does not mean it's recommended for newbies.
I actually want to jump in here and I want to say all of our vanilla listeners that want to experience kink, please don't go to a BDSM party so early. Okay. If you haven't done adequate research, if you haven't listened to all of the episodes, if you haven't really done your homework, please don't go and scar yourself by going to a rack event. Okay. It's going to be horrible and you're not going to like it. And you're not going to want to experience something that could be absolutely beautiful to your relationship. Just take baby steps. Let's take baby steps. Am I right, ladies? Because like I
That
just
is
want to make sure.
that is definitely very, very true.
Mm,
You need to be mentally prepared. You need to
mm,
understand the fundamentals of BDSM. You need to
mm,
understand consent. You need to understand aftercare
mm,
before you go to any event.
mm,
Um, yes, you can end up, like you said, you can end up triggered if you do not
mm,
understand what is going on
mm.
and the dynamics and the power exchanges at play.
For instance, I don't watch blood play at all. I've been to many a BDSM party. I don't watch blood play. It's not my kink. I don't like it. It triggers me. It triggers me horribly. So I won't watch it. I don't like it. But other people find it fascinating and they find it interesting. Other people are like, oh, that's a little bit of blood. That's not even a, oh please, I wanted to see something more gruesome. So each to their own. But you got to find your own first.
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing. What's next on your list, Domme Claire?
Well, while you're busy with your impact play, you have to pay close attention to your partner's body language.
Mm,
How are they responding to what you're doing? Are they flinching or tensing up or pulling away? Then you might have to
mm,
check in with them, see how they're doing, or you might have to adjust the intensity. Are they relaxing into it? Then you can know that they're enjoying it. You can even increase your intensity a bit.
mm,
So check their body language. That's very important.
I love that.
I just want to add to that brilliant point. So I personally stopped bruising. For some reason, my body stopped bruising.
Mm,
So if you do impact on me, it's quite different than doing impact on somebody else. So
mm,
you need to make sure how your partner marks, also for feedback on how hard are you going. And it's important that if you become aware that you don't bruise easily or you do bruise very easily, to
mm,
communicate that. And like if you have any medical issues, it's really, really important to communicate that before the play.
mm, mm. Love that. Makes sense. So, what I always find fascinating is I've heard a lot of people speak about leather ass. Is that a real thing? Or is it a made up term?
It is really, really real. It's real,
Really?
and it can
Okay.
become really, really serious if you develop a leather skin
Mm.
from too much impact too frequently.
So that's what it's from. It's from
Yes,
aiming for a caning too frequently. Okay, gotcha.
exactly. So you need to rest for about 4 to 6 weeks between. Do you, um, Dom Claire, how long do you prefer your clients to rest between severe impact sessions?
I usually go with the bruising, how long the bruising takes to heal. So that can take anything, they're usually about 2 weeks. And it also depends on their emotional state that they're in, like if
Mm,
they're still dropping or if they're completely okay.
mm,
Yes. Yes. So what happens is like the deep tissue
Yeah.
don't heal fully.
mm,
And then if you do impact too frequently, that's when the leather bum develops, the leather skin. And um, after a while, the skin starts splitting and making scabs. And then if you reach that point, you will never be able to have impact again on that part of your body.
Oh,
And
wow.
it can get as severe that you might need actual skin grafts. So
Wow.
this is not just a please don't play too frequently. It's really, really important that if you do a very serious impact sessions, that you take proper precautions. And
Wow.
there is something called sub-frenzy that is especially
Mm,
frequent with impact plays.
mm.
You get addicted to the endorphins and the
I
subspace,
Absolutely, I can vouch for that because I've been there. That shit is intense,
right?
and that's exactly why I was warned about the leather ass, because after a while I just wasn't bruising anymore, and that's what I was after, right? Is those caning marks, because it's like trophy stripes, right? It's like earning your stripes. That's what I love, and I didn't know back then. I didn't have friends like you, Medusa, my wifey, my beautiful other half of my of my tripod. I didn't have anybody to learn from. It was just me on my own, and I had no idea I was in sub frenzy. And that's when you become so quick and vulnerable to predators. You don't realize it's
Mm.
dangerous.
Yes, and I had an interesting conversation with a new submissive to the scene, and they were doing a lot of impact plays in a space of 2 days. I think they did about 6 plays on different parts of their bodies.
Mm,
And we had a discussion, and I need to bring my point across. And they were like, "No, we're fine. We can handle it, right?"
mm,
And I eventually said to them, "You know, I love pain. Do you not think if I could get impact every day,
regularly,
I
yeah.
would be not bending every day?
And you
There's a
thrive on
reason
it.
for it."
Mm,
And even when I stopped bruising, my first thought was, did I go too frequently? Is this leather butt? But it turns out my
mm,
whole body stopped bruising. So
sure.
no, it's not that. But it's, and I think it's something that, especially if you're not exposed to people with BDSM experience, is
Mm,
really, really crucial as a newbie.
mm,
Um, because you have your partner at home, the wooden spoon, the spatula's right there in the kitchen.
mm.
Um, but do not get tempted into playing too
Too
frequently.
frequently. Gotcha. What's next on your list there, Dom Claire?
A tip that I have is to combine impact play with sensory play.
Ooh, I love the sound of that. This is
Yeah,
right up my alley.
I
Yes.
love
So what would that entail?
sensory play can be things like sensory deprivation, so blindfolds or gags or
Mm.
earplugs, and things to tickle the senses with. So you can use temperature play or fur floggers. Um, you can use ice or wax, um, just to have different sensory experiences while you're busy with your impact play. So you alternate it and you give the body time to reset in between, and you partner to relax in between the strokes.
Ooh, I
I
think that
like
can be
that.
very sexy. Mm.
Also, adding to your tips, orgasms after impact, arousal. Actually, there's been studies to say that people handle more pain if that association is built.
Yes.
So ending impact play with an orgasm will in time help that person build up their pain threshold,
Hmm. Yes. And do
Ooh.
you know why that is?
because the part in the brain where the pain and pleasure, pain in arousal and pleasure part in the brain is very interlinked,
Yes.
and it comes from the same nerves, endings.
Yeah. And whether you experience pain or pleasure, your body releases endorphins. So it's just you're flushing yourself or you're partnering with endorphins. So it's the positive association will just form over time with that. That's also I love doing pain and pleasure sessions as well.
I
I
love the
like
sound of
that.
that. This is right up the newbie's alley because this is going to teach you that it's not all Dungeons and Dragons and dark and dangerous, right? This is
Yes.
something really, really sexy and it can really, really enhance and create those like exciting moments. I love that one. That one calls for, hold on. An applause. That's fantastic. That one needs an applause. Love this. Okay. I know eventually we're going to get to aftercare, and I want to make sure that we do get to it. How many points have you got left so that I can just more or less check the time?
Oh, I've got lots of points, but that's okay.
Okay. We've got
I'm rather over prepared than under prepared.
we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about your most important ones and then finish with aftercare.
I'd say take it slow, and with
Mm,
each stroke, give your partner proper time to process what just happened,
mm.
rather than just go, 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 go,
I
go.
like that.
That's
Mm.
important, I think.
So something that I want to ask now that you're talking about the stroking, right? Is it advisable? I'm going to go 50 shades here. Okay. Is it advisable to have your partner count impacts or discuss ahead of time how many lashes they're going to be getting?
So personally for me, from a sub's point of view, right, I do not like counting for the very reason because it breaks my subspace.
Oh.
If I have to count, my pain threshold is severely reduced
Mm,
because subspace also makes you feel a lot less pain, and you go on this very euphoric natural state because of all the endorphins. And when you have to focus you on counting, you can't let go. So typically counting is usually used for like something like a punishment, if that was agreed. But personally, I prefer not to count.
okay.
I agree
Okay.
with that.
Okay. What's next on your list, Domme Claire?
Well, we've got safe words. That's also important. Using the traffic light system and the scale of 1 to 10 to check in on how your partner's doing.
Mm.
And then there's aftercare stuff.
Okay, brilliant. Well, let's talk about aftercare
Yeah.
now that we finally reached this part of the show. Because I don't think people realize, Medusa, we've lost you on camera, but you can come back
I'll be right
just by
there.
clicking. Perfect. So I don't think nearly enough people realize just how important aftercare is. And when we talk about aftercare, it's not just the physical. It's not just putting a lappy on the bikies that you've just like warm geklap nie. That's not what it's all about, right? It's all about making sure that your partner's psyche and their emotional state and their emotional well-being, as much as the physical well-being, is being taken care of. And there's different forms of aftercare. So I love speaking to people when they say to me, my aftercare routine was this, and with aftercare comes self-care as well. I mean, we know you can't even think of having a kink session if you haven't properly self-cared. So let's talk about aftercare and let's start with the importance of it, if you wouldn't mind.
Aftercare is very important for preventing sub drop and dom drop.
Mm,
Those horrible icky feelings that you can experience afterwards. We don't want
mm,
that. So aftercare is to kind of mitigate that as much as possible. And it's important to reconnect with your partner and just come back down and reset
mm,
properly with your
mm.
partner.
I love it. I want to add something to it. And for the vanillas listening, there's a lot of times where we have really kinky sex, where it doesn't even necessarily involve impact play. Okay, forget about BDSM completely. Where we have really rough, almost primal kinky sex. That kind of sex, that kind of intimate moment sharing could also require aftercare. That could also require, especially if it was a really, really rough session, make sure you understand your partner's wants and needs and the importance of making sure your partner's okay after anything that could be traumatic for them. I think that's basically what it's about, right? Am I correct in assuming that it's as much for the sub and the dom job as much as it is to just to make sure that there weren't any trauma triggers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And the
Because we don't want women to trigger our partners.
and especially for the dom, they will probably be experiencing feelings of guilt. Um, and it's really reassuring if the sub speaks to the bottom speaks to the top and tells them, like, thank you, this is what I wanted, this is how I felt during it. I found that telling your dom or your top how it made you feel really helps them deal with that emotions, and breaks down that guilt.
How fair
The words of affirmation.
sorry about that. What were you saying?
So the words of affirmation.
How far do we take aftercare? Something that's always bothered me is people expecting aftercare that should last 24/7, 365, permanent aftercare state, right? And I've seen it time and time again. When does aftercare become abusive? and when does expecting aftercare become abusive to your dom?
Well, as a pro dom, I've got a lot of subs, and I definitely cannot do aftercare 24/7 all of the time for everyone. So my aftercare is immediately after the session, and then a couple hours after, or the next day, or a few days later, I want them to send me a message when they've processed what's happened, and I'll give them some more words of affirmation and validation then. So it's immediately after and a couple days later, and not more than that.
Do you think people in their intimate relationships that expect that's going to be expecting, like, for instance, my husband and I, or my partner and I, or my wifey and I have had a session, right? And it was a kinky session, and there was impact play, and now I want to be like really, really loved and cared for, and like engulfed with affection by Medusa, say for instance. When does it become that point where too much is too much now? Like you're taking the piss out of something that we call aftercare that's important, and now you're just making it too much of the fact.
So Lola, sorry, please go ahead, Dom.
I think it's also something that has to be negotiated. Like, we need to negotiate how much aftercare we need and can give. And if it goes beyond what your partner can give to you, then that's kind of where the self-care, I think, comes in.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. That makes sense to me. Medusa, what were you going to say?
So it's important to realize that sub drop does not always happen directly after the play. If I have an impact session, it takes me 2 to 3 days before I start coming down and having that drop. So my aftercare requirements usually is that obviously I do immediate aftercare after the play, but then 2-3 days later when I start dropping, the first thing is really to identify that you're dropping. That is the biggest step, right? Because you might just think I'm just feeling emotional, and usually the sign for me is if I cry over nothing for no reason. I know, listen, the drop has started, and then for me personally, no matter how many times I play, and no matter what sorry,
Yeah, you need to be. There we go. Good.
and no matter how much aftercare I do directly after my play, I always drop, because I reach phenomenal subspace. And then what I usually do is eat chocolate. I personally like being wrapped in a warm blankie, and I'll watch a chick flick, cry a bit. Half an hour later, I'm fine, you know. But the most important thing is identifying that you're dropping. Because when you are dropping, something funny happens. You just want to run away from your partner. You want to tell them, you know, F off. I never want to talk to you
We can
again.
say
You
fuck,
know,
it's now time
those
talk.
feelings are, you know, you don't want, like, and this is normal to experience this. And but as soon as that feeling passed, you back to your normal self and everything. So it's really important to realize that what you're going through is normal.
Yes.
What does a drop look like for a dom? Because I don't think we talk about this enough. I think we always hear about the sub drop and the sub drop and the sub drop and what that feels like and how to take care of them. What does aftercare look like for a dom?
Do you want to hear about the drop first?
Yes, let's hear about the drop first and then the other one.
So drop, we've already spoken about the feelings of guilt, which was in the beginning I dropped hard all the time, and guilt was one of the biggest ones that I felt of like, how could I do this to this person? How could I enjoy doing it to this person? How could I charge the person for what I just did to them?
Sure.
Those were the three main thoughts that were going through my mind. You could feel sad or empty or depressed. You can feel incredibly irritated or frustrated. You can start feeling anxious or disconnected. Physically, you can feel tired or you can have muscle aches. I've had that was after like hours of flogging that I've had muscle aches, so that was different. You can have changes in your appetite or your sleeping patterns, or you can have headaches. And then you can maybe have negative self-talk or self-doubt or overthinking as well. So those are all symptoms of dom drop.
Sure, that's quite extensive, eh? That just shows that the DOMs also go through it. It's not as easy as giving a couple of claps there, left 2, 3, and then you're done for. It takes a toll. It takes a toll on them as well. Okay. And what does aftercare look like for a dom? What am I gonna do to my partner after I've been the bottom?
I usually base my aftercare on someone's love language. So I will ask as part of my vetting process, what
Mind just blown.
your love language? So because I need to understand what will make this person feel loved and cared for. It's not just what can I do, it's what will make you feel loved and cared for.
You guys, mind blown. Love that. What is your love language?
So it's gonna mine. Well, it's tricky because I've got strict boundaries as a pro dom. So for me, I want words of affirmation and I want quality time as my aftercare with my subs.
Okay, that's great.
So my two big ones. I am also big on acts of service, but like, so if they like clean up the dungeon with me or whatever, you know, that's just sweet.
Sure.
I like that.
It's the first time that I've heard that. I'm flabbergasted. So impressed. Wow.
So, one of the things that we used to do is after the play, we would jump in a warm shower, because, like, if you're bound for long periods, you may be standing in a difficult position to bend for Spanx. We would take a shower, and part of my aftercare for my dom was to dry him off as an act of service.
Love that.
So I would dry him off to say thank you for, you know, and something I think is always great is if a sub thanks or the bottom thanks the top for their pain, for their impact. You know, it's just a little goes a long way, you know. Those little moments of service that creates such a close bond, and I don't know about Domme Claire, but giving feedback on how you experience the process as a submissive and
Unpacking
what
the
it did
session, yeah.
Yeah.
and what it did to you also helps the top with the aftercare and with their drop. Um,
Not
so
just
that's
that,
my two things.
not just that, my analytical like little mind also, I want to immediately go into what can I do better, what can I do to make the session more enjoyable for you next time. Immediately go into analysis mode, and then that helps me figure out the answers on how can I make next time even more incredible.
Yes, and something I found really helpful is not to immediately talk about it. Wait till you come down, because you might not realize it, but you can be in subspace for a couple of days, right? Not that extreme high, but your levels have not normalized yet.
Yeah.
And until you do, you will not be able to process things in a very rational manner. It will be looking like through glasses or something that distorts your view slightly. Wait till you've completely come down, think about it, and then give feedback. And don't be scared to give feedback that you might not think the partner wants to hear. If there was something you didn't like, be honest, because that's how you improve. If you want something else done in a specific matter, you can always ask. Even as a submissive, you can ask. It's about how you ask.
Yes.
If you ask in a respectful manner, that opens up a nice conversation,
So before we end this airing, that was absolutely beautiful from you, both you ladies. Thank you very, very much. I've again learned a lot. I want to quickly touch, because Black Dragons just posted on the group. He says self-care should be at the core of aftercare, and I cannot exclaim this loud enough. Like, I want to shout it from the rooftops. I want to shout it from the mountains. I want the world to know how important self-care is. You cannot pour. We all know this. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Blah blah blah. You cannot love somebody if you cannot love yourself. What does your self care look like? What is your partner's self care look like? Do you know if your partner is even practicing self care? Do you guys know if you guys have schedules for self care? How well are you guys taking care of each other? Taking care of yourself so that you can take care of each other. It's so important to understand that you shouldn't even be engaging in emotional discussions if you haven't had proper self-care. If you haven't taken care of yourself. Going back to before we unpack the session. Why do you think we maybe wait a couple of days before? Because you gotta get your own head clear. Do your own self-care. Find out how you feeling, what you thinking of it. Get your mind clear. Get your soul clear, and then find out what your wants and needs and likes and dislikes was. You cannot think if your mind is foggy. Your mind is going to be foggy if you don't take care of yourself. Self-care involves eating healthy, doing affirmations, self-affirmations. It includes taking care of your a little bit of exercising. If you don't like exercising, maybe spend time in nature, read a good book, allow yourself some chocolates, allow yourself some guilty little pleasures. That does not break down your body. It does not include self-care. Does not include going out on and out of town, having drugs and copious amounts of alcohol. That is not self-care. That's absolutely harmful behavior. So that's not constituted as self-care. I had a client the other day that when I asked her, what did you do to make yourself feel better? Oh, well, I went out clubbing and I drank. Honey, that's not self-care, okay? What about reading? What about taking care of yourself? What about listening to music? What about just being within yourself, taking a hot bath? All of these things can be constituted as self-care. And that's my little nugget for the listeners this evening, because, Lola's all about the self-care. That's very important. Before they end the episode, Domme Claire, is there anything else that you want to add? Maybe a nugget that you want to leave the listeners with?
Just remember that you're not a freak and it's all okay.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Absolutely. We've loved having you on the episode. It's really, really, really been such an honor having you here, and really such an honor. I don't even have other words. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. Medusa, my love, anything from you?
Yes, my pod. Sorry, can you guys hear
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Okay. My parting words are: do not be afraid to say you've had enough.
Use those
Doing
safe
any
words.
time at any time.
Mm.
Use that safe word and enjoy it.
Doesn't make you less of a person. That's it. Lustful
Thank you.
listeners, this evening you were listening to Getting from Fantasy to Flogging Flawlessly, and this was a flawless episode, let me just add. It was absolutely invaluable and educational, and nothing short of what we strive to bring to our lustful listeners on a weekly basis. What can the lustful listeners look forward to this week going forward? Wednesday night on the Lifestyle Lectureship Show, we have got my girl Debbie, half of the fabulous duo co-host that's hosting with me this season. Miss Debbie and myself are going to be doing just jealousy because in ethical non-monogamous relationships, jealousy is still prevalent. Let's talk about that. Let's find out how we combat it and let's work through it. On Friday night with my girl Carmen, my other wifey, we are going to be doing, we haven't decided what we're doing actually. We're supposed to be doing burlesque, but we are undecided. We decided last night that we're undecided. We might do prostate or we might do sex drive. Any which one. Find out. Let's just, we're going to surprise the lustful listeners next week, Friday. Then next week, Saturday, on Kinky Classes, we have got Mistress Salsa. So if you guys listened in last night, you might have heard her speak. Mistress Salsa is also a pro dominatrix from Johannesburg region, and we are going to be doing My Fetish Fantasy. What is the difference between a fetish and a kink? Tune in next week, Saturday, 9 p.m., same time, same place, and find out. Do you have a fantasy, or do you have a fetish, or do you just have a kink? Let's hear the difference. And that's it for this evening from the Lola Blakely production series. We have had an absolute jolt with all 2,600, correct myself, with all 2,600 live listeners this evening. The chatter on the Podbean app has been absolutely amazing, and we have had an absolutely fabulous time spending time with your lustful listeners this evening. Tune back in next week, same time, same place. Until then, stay lustful, listeners.
We can fight our desires, but when we start making fires, we get ever so hot. Whether we like it or not, they say we can love who we just. But what is love without lust? Two hearts with accurate devotions. But what I feel is without emotions.
old were you when you realized you were kinky? My name is Jerry Pelser, and in my latest book I explore the topics of friendship, young love, family secrets, and kink positivity in a new series of 4 books called The Felicity Street Annals, a children's story for adults. The first book in the series launches on the 30th of May and is available in both paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com, along with my other, distinctly more adult, BDSM-flavored novels.